Is the Tesla Cybercab another Cybertruck, or is it another ChatGPT? I would argue it's neither. It's definitely not another Cybertruck, because the problem with Cybertruck, or let me rephrase that. I mean, the actual question is this just going to be a niche product that actually will fail because it's not going to be able to scale like a Cybertruck, a nice to have, fancy kind of thing. And the ChatGPT side of things is like huge adoption, huge scale, explosion of demand, explosion of supply, the whole shebang. And I think it's neither, because I think the cyber cab has the actual potential to take the good things of ChatGPT and the good things of Cybertruck and combine them. And what's good about Cybertruck is that it's actually a profitable business. And I think Cybercab will be even much more profitable because, and that's very important. The other reason why it's not a ChatGPT, although it has the good perspective of ChatGPT, for example, it will have large demand, but it will also be cost conscious. So the point with Cybercab is that it's a cost-effective solution to a large problem, which is transportation, and that's why we're very bullish on it. I want to say something else here, and that is compulsion over planning. What that means is that I think a lot of Tesla shareholders and generally analysts are a bit disillusioned with the current situation with Tesla's AI endeavors. It's taking too long, and meaning we have a technology, but it's not being monetized at scale. And even the technology itself is still questionable. I would say 9 out of 10 Tesla customers still don't use it. And 99 out of 100 people don't know that there's such a thing as a Tesla AI product. For us users, this is crazy, because if you've driven FSD, and we're even on the 12.6 version, so we're not even on the 14.3. Even the 12.6 version is just astonishing how it changes your life. Now, we think that soon, basically what's needed is we need more killer apps now on the FSD side. For example, the ability to be dropped off somewhere and then self-parking, the ability to send the car to pick up your wife or kids, the ability to actually send the car over a distance, like to do to do a pickup, like that. Those are the kinds of things that will dramatically change people's lives, even more than the fact that you'll be driven. Now, I just watched a movie on the plane about an accident, and the accident, it just doesn't matter. It's just an accident. Somebody came out of the woodwork and rode a bike right into a car, and then the woman that was driving the car kind of gets depressed because she killed somebody, and so on and so forth. This would not happen with FSD. These kinds of things, at some point, of course, the physics take over. But if there's enough time, definitely FSD will be much faster than a human, particularly in bad conditions like rain or fog. So safety, comfort, cost, all of these things make Cybercab. When I talk about Cybercab, by the way, I mean unsupervised FSD, whether it's customer use or whether it's a robotaxi service. Those are generally two different problems, but it's the same technology, and both of them can be monetized at scale. So for us shareholders at Tesla now, I guess the message is, look, we just have to stick around. This is not the time to give up, because the technology is there and the company is making steps at their pace. They need to figure out things like memory in the car. If you want to remember somebody's trajectory, if you want to remember somebody's parking spot, they need to figure out how to manage a fleet of unsupervised cars. They need to figure out how to unstuck cars when they get stuck, and they will get stuck, not because the cars or the technology is not sufficient. It's just simply that sometimes cars get stuck, even human-driven cars, and there has to be a way to reason your way out of a stuck situation. So these things need time, and they will probably take longer than expected. The fear in the investor community is twofold. One is that it's taking so long, maybe it will never happen, and the other is, if it's taking so long, that competitors will catch up. Now, I have an answer to the latter one, which is if it takes Tesla this long to launch whatever they're launching, then imagine other people who don't even have the actual FSD. Forget about the other stuff, the memory solution and all these things. And then lastly, and we just published an episode, a speech by Andrew Davison, who spoke about the necessity for new kinds of hardware for embodied AI, and Tesla, of course, at the forefront of this. And we're underestimating the need for new types of chips, new types of memory, inference and training, more mainly inference, of course, has to be solved in a different way with different architectures. We spoke about the sort of the priors, and one of the priors is actually the actual technology you use to do inference. That's a prior also. And no matter how much better lesson you are, you still need to make a decision what kind of chips you want to use when you do inference, and that's a priority as well. So this is not your own podcast. It's June 29, 2026. This is Krim Delco. For the euro down 12%, the market's up 7%, we're underperforming by 19%. And the reason we're underperforming is actually Tesla. Tesla mainly has been underperforming NVIDIA to some extent also, but definitely Tesla. And the question now is, okay, are we sitting here on another Cybertruck situation where we have a great product, a very exciting situation that will lead us to nowhere because it's a niche product, it won't scale, it might make some money, it might give us marketing kudos, but it's not going to scale? And the answer is no. And we've spoken about this before. When you look at situations like this, when you look at products, when you look at generally in business now, generally as an investor, what you want to do is you want to try to isolate the factors that you are sure that will happen, right? Because you can't predict the future, and you should never, ever reason by analogy. It's very dangerous, particularly in technology, because technology is actually exactly the kind of thing where you cannot reason by analogy. It's non-linear. New technologies, by definition, solve problems that have not been solved before, and therefore open up new avenues. I've spoken about this at length in other episodes, just a few examples. YouTube was originally planned to be a dating site. Nobody had any idea that it will become the largest education and entertainment platform in the world. Instagram was meant for photo sharing and not for people like Kim Kardashian launching businesses on top of Instagram. So there's this non-linearity of new technology by definition takes away the ability to reason by analogy. If you're an investor in a company like Nestle or General Mills, and with all respect to these companies, nothing wrong with them, there you can reason by analogy because these companies are generally building incremental growth. Their main growth comes from price increases, from packaging changes. So you can reason by analogy, particularly packaged goods, and that's why they're called defensive sectors. Technology is not that kind of thing. So let's get back to the conversation here. What's not going to change is that people will always, always demand more quality, more comfort, more safety, and lower cost. Nobody's going to want to pay more for something if they can pay less. And nobody's going to want to have less safety or less comfort or less convenience if they can have more at the same price. So that's a credo. There are exceptions, perfume, goods like that. Sometimes you want to pay more just because it makes you feel good. We're not going to go down that route. This is economics 101, but it's not even economics. It's just human nature. So that's important. Now, having said that, the reason Cybertruck is not working is not because it's a bad product. It's simply because it hasn't been able to fulfill those types of vectors. It's a high-cost solution for problems that mainly haven't even been solved. For example, you cannot haul, now I might be wrong with the weights, but and I don't want to go down the numbers, but there's a certain amount of weight that you want to be able to haul, and there's a certain amount of weight you want to be able to pull on a trailer for a certain amount of cost that people are used to with these types of trucks, business people, commercial people. You can't do that with a Cybertruck. It's just not possible. Number one. Number two, when you are on a job, particularly in rural areas of America where trucks are more prevalent, charging can be an issue. You have capacity, charging, route estimation. Those are the kinds of things that haven't been solved. They just haven't been solved. The 4680 was supposed to solve that. In other words, we need more. We need definitely more energy density, which means longer range for the same cost, and also a little bit more power density. We need to be able to maybe accelerate with a trailer and things like that. That those things haven't been solved. The diesel engine has been stronger on that front, and given the cost of the Cybertruck, you're paying a lot for less performance, for less utility. That's not a good recipe. Now, what the Cybertruck has morphed into is a status symbol for athletes and rappers, and that's just not enough to build a market. That's not the case with Cybercab. Cybercab is the exact inverse of Cybertruck. So instead of having all this additional weight and all this additional cost with no utility, it's the exact inverse. The Cybercab has been stripped down to the bare minimum of what's necessary to provide exactly the kind of utility that people are interested in, and the people that buy services for Cybertruck, Cybercab. The people are they're looking for transport. They're looking for A to B transport. I land at airport X, I need to go to Y. That's what they want. A lot of general transportation problems, like I said before, in the private use case, so not the robotaxi use case, but the housewives going shopping and sending the car to pick up the son from soccer, or sending the child to soccer practice. That's a huge use case. Think about a family with 3 kids, how much driving people do when they actually have kids and have to do all these things, the sports and the school and the art school and all the after school activities. So transportation is a real problem. It's very expensive, and Cybercab is solving that problem. Again, whether it's a service, transfer service, or whether it's a car that you have that has these abilities, that's a whole different episode. And there's different strategies and different pricing mechanisms, and business schools can geek out on this. But in this episode, we just want to focus on the technology, which allows for lower cost, higher value, higher safety, higher comfort, and more surety. Also, for sure that you will have availability of, for example, a parking spot, because you don't need to worry about it. You can go to downtown San Francisco, or even imagine Manhattan, and just exit the car right in front of your dentist, right in front of your therapist, right in front of the school, and then go have the car go and find a spot, or even not even find a spot, just drive around and pick you up whenever it's necessary, it's ready for that. So those are the kinds of things that we think Cybercab, unsupervised FSD in general, is solving at lower cost. It's clearly, Tesla has made a huge effort to lower the cost in many different ways. Sometimes maybe, let's say the car is relatively small. If there's only 2 people, there's only 2 seats. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on within the design space of Cybercab. You don't have that problem with the Model Y and 3, but with Cybercab you have the problem. It's only 2 people, but then 80 to 85% of transportation is only 1 to 2 person. So we have a large scale market here that can be tapped with this product. Again, the product is designed to have a low cost, high safety, high comfort, high safety, high comfort, and low cost solution. Those are important factors that we shouldn't underestimate. Now, as far as our situation is concerned as investors, again, the title said it. I think we're in a sort of frustration mode now. The stock is not doing anything. The street is not happy with the situation. Also, we have competition with. We have the whole chip space, which is going through the roof. The memory space. We have SpaceX. We have Anthropic's IPO expected. So there's a lot of competition for capital. And as Tesla shareholders, you're sitting on a lame duck right now, as far as that's concerned. There's no other way to say it, right? We are down 12% for the year, when the market's up 7%, and companies like Micron or SanDisk are up 5 to 8x this year. So we're definitely underperforming as tech investors, as AI-focused investors. we're supposed to be making a lot of money this year and we're not. So this is a situation that is certainly, asking for answers. If not, even worse, you can lose your job over things like that. And what we're advocating for is patience. Again, compulsion over planning. Let's not reason by analogy here. We're obsessed with the robotics problem. We're obsessed with the opportunities that are solving robotics problems. And there's a lot of problems. This is an onion where you peel off one problem. This is not like one day it's solved. It's exactly like ChatGPT in that sense, right? Or Grok or whatever, Claude. Like you're not going to solve the problem of AI tomorrow and then that's it. This is a very Popperian situation. With every solution, you have new problems that you can solve. You solve FSD, now you have to solve how do we remember parking spot? You solve parking spot, how do we optimize for the network? And there's so many other interesting problems to be solved. And I think we should be conscious of that, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. And now, as far as investment is concerned, now let's put some nails with heads here, right? What we're looking for is monetization, and the monetization can happen in three main vectors. Number one, higher car sales. Higher car sales driven by supervised and unsupervised FSD should happen this year. Number two, monetization of FSD through the car. So that is people buying the car because of the AI and then also paying for the AI. And then third, of course, transportation as a service, which is Cybercab, robotaxi, and other services in the future, food delivery, things along those lines. So those are the three main vectors that we expect this year to show in the numbers. They don't have to be large. They just have to start showing 20% growth in volume, 30, 50% growth in FSD subscriptions, maybe some revenue on unsupervised cybercabs, maybe even some sales of cybercabs. Those are the kinds of things that we think can get the stock over 500, which would be a 10, 15% annual performance, which I think is okay given where we are right now. I'd say if we can finish in the sort of low 500s this year, that would be great. Now, as far as the stock is concerned, the way we think about the stock is like the reason you always think about the stock is like you only think about the stock really when you're a buyer or a seller. And the question is, of course, at what point would I be a seller of the stock, right? At what point would I, get out? And we kind of we spoke about this at the beginning of the year, which was sort of in the 900 range. And we probably need to lower that a little bit, but still in the sort of 700 to 800 range. That would be definitely because then you're in a situation where you're pricing in like SpaceX, you're pricing so much upside that there's no point of holding on to the stock. If we doubled this year, roughly, maybe not as much as double, but close to double, maybe 750, 800 from 440. That's 80%, something like that. That would be so that's how we think. Where would we be a buyer of the stock? Definitely around 200. Just given the risk reward at that level, given all the situation that's going on, given what we know. Of course, if new information comes out, then no. Lastly, I want to say, look, we also have to be conscious of the risks. There's regulatory risk. That's actually a real risk because you can have, like, for example, there's a scenario where New York City disallows Cybercab as long as they can. They will eventually have to give in because people will ask for it. But then what they can do is, of course, tax it, right? And the reason I'm using New York City is because, number one, there's a very hostile political situation in New York City as far as technology, AI, and particularly Elon Musk is concerned, a woke mayor and all that. Let's not go further. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about here. But more importantly, also, there's a big interest group of drivers, taxi, and, let's be frank, racketeering, mafia, all that kind of stuff. So they're not just going to give this billion-dollar market of transportation in New York City away. And the reason you can be sure that that is the case in New York City is just land in the JFK and take a taxi to Manhattan. It costs you often more than the flight that you just took to get you to New York City, and that's because there's so much corruption. So to break through that is going to be very difficult. But we believe that even New York City will have to cave in because you just can't stop. Like if a person in New York City flies to Miami or Knoxville or wherever else and then jumps in a Cybercab and for $20 gets to the hotel in a really fun experience and then has the same experience in New York City with an Uber driver and pays $200, at some point people will just ask for it, and I think that's again the risk. Then of course is that they allow it, but then they just tax it, so the costs stay the same. But of course that would be defeat the purpose then of launching the service if the costs stay the same. So to summarize, Tesla is neither, the Tesla Cybercab is neither a Cybertruck nor it's ChatGPT. It's actually the best of both. It's a phenomenal new product that has all the attributes of a successful launch at scale, lower cost, higher safety, higher convenience, and it's also profitable. So it's not just a low price product that needs to be subsidized. It actually is profitable because it's designed to fulfill, to solve problems that haven't been solved before. The problem of transport as a service hasn't been solved because it's never existed. A car is not transport as a service, and that's why we're holding on to Tesla. Thank you.